What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Monogatari Off-Season Monster Season. I kept you waiting. Huh? Yeah, I am back from, let's just call it vacation. It wasn't really, but I'm back in my prime location, as you can see. It's been about 2.5 weeks probably since I've recorded anything, since I had exams pretty much right after that. This is also why last week you didn't get episode 9 right away. And I do apologize if I'm a little bit rusty on how to moderate this great fucking grand series and all that. But we're gonna get started right away, and I do hope my analysis and observation skills are somewhat still there and everything is going relatively well. Yeah, I mean, that being said, let's just jump right into it, I would say. We had comments on episode 8, which were pretty long and whatnot. I do assume we're probably gonna go into the Shinobu Devtopia arc, I would assume. I mean, that's like the latest thing I had on my radar. Maybe we're gonna do something else, but I strongly assume this is gonna be the case, because she's been like, oh, hey, maybe I'll check in on her and see how she's doing. I heard she's been defeated lately. I kind of like, she's kind of sniffing copium with the defeated thing, where she's like, that's not true, but maybe I could look if how she's doing. And obviously it's out of concern. We felt like that energy between the two of them, which is kind of like almost a romantic kind, although don't know where to put that yet, right? In which kind of category and where to exactly put it in. Is this going to be a situation of like, guess what, Araragi, my, quote unquote, other partner for life that I kind of bonded with 600 years ago is in front of the door and wants to know what's what? Or is this going to be a like, I wonder how he's gonna react, because for her it's probably like, who's this guy, right? What's this guy doing, right? Get the fuck out of here. Leave my Asarola Hime alone. But for him, this might be... Wait, no, there's two of you. What? He might be really excited about it, or he might be pensive about it and be like, oh no, I don't know what to feel about this. This could be trouble or whatever. I do wonder who's gonna get involved as well, if this is gonna be an issue like it was with the first. Back in, I don't even know how the arc was called. Shinobu Mail, I guess? I think so. I'm not sure. You know which arc I'm talking about. If this is gonna be a trouble like that, or if it's gonna be more of a, hey, let's catch up, let's see how you are doing, and because there's gonna be some kind of issue off the arc, right? I don't think we've had an arc so far where there was not a little bit of tension and trouble going on. But yeah, let's just jump into it, see how this episode is doing. I'm actually having the MTBB subs for once, because I'm early for once. I also heard like the MTDB subs had quite the amount of time that it took for them to actually bring them out, supposedly because of some kind of joke. I know the joke involves a senpai and hentai as a word, so word pun, I assume. That's all I know. Other than that, I think we should just get started. Monogatari Off-Season Monster Season Episode 9, right here, ready to go for you. Check out the Discord, the Patreon, whatever. I'm looking here at the picture of some live action not live action, it's more like, it looks like stop motion picture. So very, very cool with the plate and the fork and the knife, because Bon Appetit were coming right out of Asarola Bon Appetit. Really cool. Let's get this started in 3, a 2, a 1. Ooh, I thought I had no sound. Wait. Give me a second, let's make sure. Oh yeah, I had it turned down earlier. Alright. Let's start this again. I'm sorry for the false countdown pink cube moment. 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yes, now I'm hearing it. And we're in front of Naoto High School again. Who are you? Blue eyes. Interesting. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, Prepsus can be kind of hard. Okay, this sounds like Aragi. Almost. Like, but a weird... Alright. I don't think you know what you're asking for. Alright. She wants out of this life, right? A fantasy. Ooh. You're in the right town, I tell you that much. She's learning about the culture. Oh, I love the tree, I like how it looks. Hi, nice to meet you. ShinobuMonogatari? What? Hello? Mustard? I mean, I love mustard, don't get me wrong, but what? Mustard? Oh, how are you doing, Gon? What? Also, hey Aragi, looking fresh. It looks like Aragi. Oh, okay. It's her, right? It's weird because it looked like young Aragi. And it's her, yeah. All the information. It's so cool to see Aragi again. Been so long. Rocking the long hair. I failed one, okay. Okay, we talked about that in, I think, the Discord. The sky color from her typical theme. The next patient. Ooh, so there's multiple ones. Ooh, a lot of Naoto high school students.
見されたのが一昨日のこと。自宅のお布団でミイラ化した本能ちゃんが母親に発見されたのが夕べのことだ。
Each day, kind of.
一人ですか。かなりのハイペースですね。
Building up strength.
一人とは限らない。もっと多くて単に大量のミイラが発見されていないだけかもしれない。
Yeah, okay, I mean, you need to assume that there's more.
ひょっとして忍のやつが疑われたりしています？
いやいや。
No, she isn't.
思っても見なかったよ。土地勘のある君に協力してほしいだけなのさ。たまには縁もゆかりもない女子を助けてみるのもオツだろう。
Senchikuhara.
実は私の方こそコヨミンを頼りたい局面ですよ。頼もしいコヨミンを。私は現在ヨズルのやつを呼び戻すために手を打っている。
え、影縫いさんを？
でもヨズルはどんなに急いでもこの町に到着するまでに数日はかかる。
Why are you all at the Arctic? Like, what are you all doing up there? Specialist camp?
今は別件の仕事中だからね。コヨミンには内緒の仕事中。
Nadeko, right?
この怪異現象の解決に協力してくれるならコヨミン。私はコヨミンが大学を卒業するまで約4年間、君の前に姿を現さないし、連絡も取らないと誓う。
Alright, bet.
怪異とも専門家とも無縁の明るく楽しいキャンパスライフを送ってくれたまえ。
He's so happy. Bro's going on his astrology arc. I'm sorry, astronomy. Not that fake shit.
もしもし？残念なお知らせだ、コヨミン。3人目の被害者が発見された。やはり直江津高校の女子生徒だ。
Deftopia building up strength. Can't be good. Oh, what are you doing with all these highways, okay? Look. There's only so many roads you can go. They're so extra with the reflections. Another Naruto high school student. This literally could be Kanbaro. I mean, it isn't, but... You zombie. Isn't he gonna catch fire? Like, with her? I guess. I guess they're not burning. Are they all part of the basketball team?
ガエンさん、お手柄っていうのは？
口元ちゃんがコヨミンを引っかこうと襲いかかる際、その手に握り込んでいた単語帳を落としたらしくってね。
何ですかこれ。
B77
ちなみにすぐ脇にそれを書いたとおぼしき筆記具も落ちていた。
Alright. This isn't that you're never gonna get that. Unless that's the code. Ooh, does it mean something?
解読できる心当たりがあります。この単語帳をちょっと預からせてください。
そこまで言うなら構わないよ。リビングメッセージか。うまいね。ダイイングメッセージをリビングというのは新しい。私はこっちを担当するさ。
ストラップがどうかしたんですか、ガエンさん。もしかするまでもなく、それは口元京美のイニシャルだろう。
もちろんこれだけならただのよくある可愛らしいアクセサリーだよ。だけど2人目の被害者である本能あぶりちゃんも
Ooh. Yeah, they have a connection, all of them.
くくりつけていたとなると話は違ってこないかい？
But they're in the same circle.
レタリングは同じだった。しかしもしかすると直江津高校の女子生徒だという以外にも被害者には共通点があるのだとしたら、
A female basketball team.
同時に正体不明の吸血鬼の特定にもつながる可能性はあるね。
And it's a vampire, so it makes sense to go for Koyomi to help out on this. Manase University. That's his new. All right, decryption class. What? I mean, sure. Why not? Didn't know that was part of astronomy, but you know. Who are you? Ooh, new character. Math, alright. Cool. Nice to know that Araragi is still staying true to his roots. Is that a new trend, like having one part of your shirt tucked in and the other one not? Like I've seen that with Oikura before. It ain't that easy. That tilt. Love to see it. Gun, when are you ever doing something? Pathology. I can follow you. Okay. Okay. 5 and 2. Oh no, 6 and 9 too, right? 5 and 2 are not exactly the same depending on how you write them. And they're B and Q basically. Right, okay, makes sense. So far, this seems like a normal logic puzzle. Oh, okay, now the math comes in. Okay, we're talking about encryption.
2から数えて19番目の素数でしょ。同様に7は4番目の素数で、79は22番目の素数。19番目のアルファベットは A から数えて S。
Is it really that easy?
22番目のアルファベットは V。
Decipher, right?
79イコール SDV。しかし SDV が何を意味しているかはまだわからない。
Yeah, but now we like any message that we get in the same vein, we can translate them now.
裏面にも記載がありまして、表面と同じ筆跡で231と書かれていました。
Ooh, okay.
つまり表面の暗号から導かれた3つのアルファベットを231の順番に並べ替えろってアナグラムかい？つまり SDV は DVS。DVS,
okay.
略語は略語でもこれはイニシャルだよ、コヨミ。例えば、デストピア・ビルトゥオーゾ・スーサイド・マスターのような。
She fucking knows. How does she know? How does she know? How does she fucking know?
ありがとう、コヨミ。
Also, who did she write it? Like, is it a message?
むしろこうなるとコヨミにあらかじめ声をかけておいてよかったと言うべきだろうね。
She knew beforehand, didn't she?
いや、 私はストラップの件から被害者同士に同じ学校に通っているという以上の共通点があるんじゃないかと思い、改めて女子高生のプライバシーを探ってみた
I
ん
love
だ
that.
けれど、結果思わぬ事実が判明した。3人とも同じ部活動に所属していたんだ。女子バスケットボール部だ。
Alright. Cucumber coming in.
妖怪変化全般を専門としながら怖いものなしのガエンさんが唯一苦手意識を持つ実施の影を感じさせる組織なのだった。直江津高校女子バスケットボール部ガエン東映。ガエンさんのお姉さん、お姉さんのお姉さんの名前であり、そのお姉さんのお姉さんのお嬢さんの名前がカンバルスルガ。現直江津高校3年生の女子高生であり、女子バスケットボール部の元キャプテンでもある。
The former
探りを
captain.
入れざるを得ませんよね。つまりそれを僕がやった方がいいわけですよね。
うん、私はスルガにはもう関わるべきじゃないからね。まして今のスルガは左腕を失っているからね。いな、取り戻したのか。
もっともカンバルも女子バスケットボール部を引退して久しいですから、生きた情報を持っているかどうかは怪しいかもしれませんよ。
それでも頼むよ。
But she's got contacts, right? Like that one girl that we saw very quickly
手
in
荷物を物色した結果、判明した
in Ovari.
と共有しておこうかな。現場検証した段階では3人目のミイラであるこの子、どうやら被害に遭ったのは昨日の未明のようだ。
昨日？じゃあ発見されたのは3人目でも口元ちゃんは被害者としては2人目ってことですか？
うん、そういうことになる。整理すると、直江津高校1年生の播磨瀬喜恵ちゃんが襲われたのは一昨日の夜。そして吸血鬼はその夜が明けないうちに同じく直江津高校1年生の口元
alright.
ちゃんを襲った。
So they happen closer to one another.
連れ込んで血を吸ったのか、それとも血を吸ってから掘ったて小屋にミイラを運び込んだのかは不明だけれど、どちらにしても強行は夜のことだ。吸血鬼らしく太陽が昇ってからの日中は吸血
Real life footage, hello?
が訪れたら、今度は自宅の自室にいた直江津高校2年生本能あぶりちゃんの首筋に噛みついた。もちろん他にも被害者はいるかもしれないので、直江津高校の女子生徒に限らず干からびたミイラを探して街中に目を光らせているよ。
8、9時に助力を求めた方がいいでしょうか？
どうだろうね。
Not yet.
神様ということは、あの子は今となってははっきり怪異の側ということだからね。
She's on neither side, I think.
これからカンバルと会うよう手はずを整えますよ。ついでにパパッとあいつの部屋を片付けてきます。
とんだついでもあったもんだ。私の姪っ子が迷惑をかけるね。
Alright, cue the clean the room part 2. How much BL will we find?
イコール DVS。 ただ被害者がミイラ化する直前にとっさに残した暗号とするなら、ちょっと込み入りすぎているように感じるのも事実だ。犯人である吸血鬼からの署名だと推理するのが実は適当なんじゃないのか？署名
Yeah, it's a message, right?
宣戦布告、自己表現。何でもいいけれど、それならイニシャルという仮説とも合致する。
What I'm wondering is where the hell is Shinobu? We're seeing here in the flashcards, but... Or in the chapter cards. Oh.
紹介しよう、荒木先輩。バスケ部時代の同期の日笠だ。
That's the one. Hikasa.
部のキャプテンを務めていた。はじめまして、荒木先輩。日笠聖雨です。お噂は金がね。
どうせろくな噂じゃないんだろ。
Yeah, a bit too cheerful about that.
さあお茶だぞ、荒木先輩。怪しいものは混入させていないから安心して飲んでくれ。
その注釈はいらないだろう。さすがはカンバルの友人、サバサバしている。
Aragi being in over his head.
知りですよ、私は。ガサツなルガーと違って。でも、荒木先輩とは昔からの知り合いみたいに感じていまして、初めて会った気がしないんですよ。
本当にどんな噂が流れているんだ？
直江津高校を卒業した唯一の不良生徒だったから。
Delinquent, holy shit.
と言っても噂を聞いているだけに、私ブルっちゃってます。あ、友達に自慢したいんで競馬を教えてもらってもいいです？
引退後もつけっぱなしにしているようだ。女子バスケットボール部のことなんだけれど。
はいはい。こちらに資料を用意しております。
She's very, like, put together for... Maybe she doesn't know that they're dead.
なんだ？誰も Put your hands up! とは言ってないぞ、東瀬ちゃん。
Terrible joke, Aragi.
言うまでもないことですけれど、これって女子高生100人分の個人情報なんですよね。
Yeah, I mean, can't trust you with that.
身長と体重とスリーサイズとパートナーの有無まで記録されています。
Comparable. What the?
ただでさえただでは済まないのに、ましてその記録を変態と名高き荒木先輩に手渡すとなると。
変態と名高き？
いえ、先輩と名高き荒木変態と言ったのです。
So this was the joke.
それなのに、私が血みどろのリスクを冒してまで荒木先輩にこのマル秘の名簿をお貸しするのは、直江津高校女子バスケットボール部の現状をあなたなら打破してくれるんじゃないかと期待しているからです。
女子バスケットボール部の現状？
Yeah, there's trouble with it.
荒木変態にそこまで求めるのは。
聞かせてくれよ。困ってるんなら力に。
Of course you do.
やばいんすよ。うちらが引退した後のジョバス。
They're in dire straits, as we've seen in the beginning of the episode.
弱小化しちゃったってことか。カンバルとか東ちゃんとかの黄金世代が抜けた後。
Big shoes to fill.
したわけじゃないんです。むしろその方が良かったくらいなんですけれど。だから雰囲気が悪くなったんです。明るく楽しい連帯感のある女子バスケットボール部じゃなくなったということだ。連帯感は失われ、連帯責任だけが残った。名簿に掲載されている100人のメンバーのうち5名が行方不明になっている。
100 is a lot, though. Ooh, new visuals. Holy shit. With the armor. What the fuck is happening, Malaragi? Shinobu in the car. I like it. Oh, a lot more characters. That's cool. I love that we keep the visual. This is amazing. This is actually peak, not gonna lie. I mean, it's just the beginning, but it's really cool. All that Deftopia and Shinobu imagery. Drain me dry. Oh, this is... Holy shit, this is amazing. That is a cool visual. That is amazing. Ooh, all right. I mean, I guess let's fucking talk about it, right? I don't have a choice, do I? Okay. Great episode. Great way to lead into this entire thing. We still have no idea what Deftopia wants, right? But there's already a lot, right? Garen being very sneaky about certain things, although she's, as always, she's helping on surface level and is trying to figure things out, but at the same time, she's a sneaky little bitch, as always. And you'd never know how much she actually knows, because that's always the case with her. Yeah, let's boom, get it on the screen. And I'm gonna lose those headphones because otherwise I feel like I'm talking into the void. Like I said, I really love this supposedly it's not really stop motion, but the way you would do stop motion stuff. The way we start with the chapter 001. Really nice. The visuals are great as always, and I do feel like now that we're back in the present, there's a lot of, well, first of all, obviously we still have the cinematic, I don't know, 16:9 or whatever you want to call it, the cinematic like black bars at the top and at the bottom. I do think that when we're getting into the present day, which is our perspective, Koyomi's perspective, whatever, it's not like that. So this is still like flashback, cinematic, right? Much like Kizu, which Kizu in general, all of Kizu was a flashback in a way, right? So it makes sense that all of Kizu had the black bars, but also it was a movie, so it had the black bars. And this is what kind of the origin of the black bars was when it comes to like just being in Monogatari. And I assume from that point forward, the black bars were synonymous with this is in the past, or at the very least, it's kind of like a very special in the past. I don't know if we do that for everything that we flash back to. I don't remember that enough. Love the atmosphere, and the art style is back to the normal, well, quote unquote normal, right? The one we had in Nadeko Draw and whatnot. And still, like, we do have this ominous feeling of the night. It kind of perfectly matches what we had in the last episode, where at the very end, Deftopia was walking across that bridge, and we saw like the plane going ahead, and we saw maybe somewhat of like this town even in terms of the traffic lights and whatnot. I was reminded very much of Kizu when we did have the traffic lights and the train like bells going off with like a train passing by and whatnot. That's how it felt last time, and this is like almost a very clear continuation of that, right? So we immediately know, yeah, we're back in here. We're back exactly where we left off last time. While at the same time seeing the story of another character, right? So we're actually seeing the story of another character from the perspective of someone else. I think Koyomi is actually telling the perspective here, so it's after the fact. But at the same time, this connection of the way the shot is, well, not the shot, but the way the atmosphere is set up and the time of day we're at, which is the night, right? Vampire as the king or the queen of the night, the regent of the night, basically. This is their time. It's monster time, basically, and this is where we are at on a visual level, on an atmospheric level, but we're setting it into the front of Naruto High School, which immediately connects those two timelines, connects these two places and locations, right? Because Deftopia was in a very different place, but now she's suddenly here, and that last part of last episode and this very beginning of this episode is kind of tying that together on a visual level. I do love that. At the same time, we do see, right? We do see visually it's completely different from 600 years ago and all the stuff that we've experienced in the in the Asarola Bon Appetit arc. This kind of also reminds me of Madoka, not visually, but the way it's set up, right? With the atmosphere and slowly walking and almost like you're in a trance, which is what she describes here, right? This incredible pressure of being, as Araki narrates here, being in a prep school and working towards top class university, whatever. And there's a lot of needing to hold up to expectations of people and actually fulfilling these expectations on an academic level, but then also being in a sports team, probably maybe even being in this prep school because of the sports team, and having the shoes of Kanbaru and Higasa to fill after they were so really, really, really good in their time here at the school. And I guess not really being able to fill those shoes, although we do see like lots of practice, probably lots of talent as well, but the team doesn't work. Team doesn't work together. The team, right? There is no together, as Higasa said at the end. And this schedule looks like full, right? It's like 4 days a week, 3 days a week, 6 days a week. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Oh no, it's not just a week. It's like multiple times a day. So it's basically all of it is basketball, and you're like, where do I have time for me? Where do I have time for school as well, right? That would be the case as well. I mean, obviously, this is the pro life, and this is like, you see that in stuff like Sangatsu no Lion. You see that in other things as well, right? Especially if we talk about Japanese and Asian school culture when it comes to that, just giving your all, even beyond school culture, it's work culture as well, right? You can overdo it, and that's one of those instances where I'm like, looking at that schedule, I'm like, holy shit, calm down, calm your ass down. You're gonna do way too much in that particular case. Practice every day, all day, every day. That's kind of a little bit much. People need pause. People need time for themselves, right? But also bonding time, maybe, right? So people can just jive better with one another, especially if they're supposed to be working in a team and all that. So yeah, way too much shit going on here for my taste, in terms of what they have to do. And how often you see that, like in esports, for example. For a time, I've been playing Overwatch for a couple of years back in the past, and you do see that teams that they practice a lot, right, 7-8 hours a day and whatnot. But if you put it on every day, all day, every day, the problem is at some point people are gonna get burned out. Like, back when I was following Overwatch League and all of that stuff, and esports teams, this esports scene was pretty new, right? And the teams that, like, the teams where the talents quit the quickest or the most often were the teams that were just over practicing, right? That were just demanding too much of their team while not giving them the necessary attention they need outside of just practice. And she looks dead. Holy shit. But her character design is really cool. I really like her character design. It's like I just want somebody to come and relieve me of the stress, right? She thinks just having a traumatic event would be less problematic for her than living in this very state that she's living in, that routine that she's living in. And it would be welcome for her to receive some kind of bad event that's happening to her that would give her the excuse to actually put that up front and be like, sorry, I can't, right? She's basically thinking of turning in sick in order to avoid doing what she has to do, and that can't be a state you want to be in, because obviously the thing, especially if it's something like sports, competitive stuff and whatnot, you want to be in that thing, you want to burn for it. She's burned out, right? She's ashes at this point. You stay with the vampire metaphor, kind of. I do love the background that we're using here with like the white trees in the night, because it's a really great contrast, and we're also kind of bending them around her, so they seem very imposing from up above. But let's talk a little bit more about visual metaphors actually when we do the separate discussion, I think. Love the lighting as well that we have here, and the little flashes. Classmates gradually alienating me. Grades going downhill, yeah. She is done. Holy shit. love the lighting, like half shadow, half light. Kind of displays somebody who, like, this is not a friendly face, right? But it's not a villain either. This is just a very dire situation, and the lighting does a really great job. She wants to start over. She doesn't care what meets her. I'm just trying to spot some very interesting stuff in here, but maybe she looks very small in this frame, right? If you look at it, I think it's I want to quit, right? Like the way she's in the background when everybody else is in the front, she's like in the dark, kind of withdrawn within herself, and then we do have the big head and the big eyes looking down, which she seems very, in over her head, closed within herself. She feels too small for all of this, despite probably having the talent. Save me, somebody save me. And she's caged, basically, right? That's what we see here with like the fence on the other side, and she's walking past it, but the shadow that she has, it's all caged in. And we're foreshadowing Deftopia by showing the moon, which has been a theme in Bon Appetit. Love how we're doing the green as well. I do remember the green was very much present when it came to God Nadeka, which was a very interesting thing. And we have a crossroads, basically. This building also kind of low-key reminds me of Homura's abode in Madoka. The crows flying by, flashback or shout out to Kizu, when we have all of these crows at the abandoned cram school. And this, like, what are we doing here? This is not even line art, it's more like a kid's drawing kind of deal. It's very weird, right? The wind's picking up, the clouds are parting. And she's like in childish form. The tree separating us again. It's like in episode 7 when we do have the tree separating Asarola and Deftopia. In this case, the tree separating the two of them, right? They're standing apart, and we want to empathize that they're still apart from one another here. And she is introducing herself in a dramatic fashion, the flashes of red and her cape and whatnot, and then the birds flying by. But for her, it's a welcome thing, right? Because she's been trapped in this loop of, I don't know. It's also interesting that her eyes flash crimson, because her eyes were blue in the beginning of this shot, so very interesting. And the gleam that we kind of let roll within her eyes, I do wonder what that's supposed to represent on like a metaphorical level. Shinobu Story Episode 1, Shinobu Mustard. Why is it mustard? Why the fuck is it mustard? I mean, I guess we'll find out. Shout out to Mr. Donuts. Okay, so this looks like a very different... Oh, it's General Hospital. This looks like super futuristic. Shaft, what are you doing with your futuristic stuff? Gan, nice to see you, but also not nice to see you. Fuck you. I mean, I like Gan, but I also don't like her because she's like so high above everything. She's like, I know everything, bitch. And I'm like, no, you don't, but also you do. Kind of, most of the time. Not everything, though. That's kind of arrogant to say. Yeah, I was kind of confused for a second because this literally looks like young Araragi, right? With like the haircut and whatnot. Wonder if that's kind of an in-joke that all of the corpses are kind of low-key looking like young Araragi. It's like, look, Araragi, that's you. Only that it actually worked out for you and you turned into a vampire and whatnot. Thanks to Kiss Shot, who was like, I gotta honor what the sacrifice he did for me. And there we go. He's looking fine, right? He's looking really cool. Like a lot better than what I remember him to look. Obviously he looked a lot younger back then. I think the haircut really suits him. All right, let me see. Right, and we do have like the medical data, basically. Holes. Yeah. Interesting how we put the basketball in the frame, right? While Araragi and Gain are the backdrop. the way we kind of frame that. And she's looking back to it, and then we're actually having a full-on shot of that. It's really cool how we introduce different elements of the scene as we go through it. And kind of just, you could have just shown that and then talking back and forth, and then she moves over to the bag with the basketball. That would have been like the normal anime studio way to do it, but that's Shaft. Like, above and beyond in all the things. Happens often. Successes like you, Goyomin, are less common. Yeah, I mean, we assumed that, right? Like that, this is like, I guess there's no emotion. We had the emotion between Asarola and Deftopia. We had the emotion between Araragi and Kissshot because Kissshot was so grateful to be saved in that moment. We had the emotion between the first and Kissshot because even then, right, there was love, there was resentment as well later on, but after that, right, there was a bond, and there's no bond here that's feeding. Interestingly enough, though, one thing that I notice immediately, they're left behind not as corpses or dead or whatever, but like basically zombies. And Deftopia has never done that before. She's always eaten what she killed, right? She always killed, ate for sustenance, and then that's that, right? Use the things, use her victims to the fullest so they weren't a waste. And now she's doing something different. I mean, I know she's sending a message. She's like, there's a vampire here, by the way. Maybe this is the only way she kind of sees, or the best way she kind of sees this happening, right? That she's saying, hey, by the way, vampire over here, you might want to pay attention. But I feel like there could be different ways to do that, right? Could be different ways to do that to not. I wonder if something about her philosophy changed over the last 600 years. And how she's treating her quote-unquote victims, right? Or her prey, or whatever you want to call it. Flashback to Kizu. Failure in this case, a blessing in disguise, because we discover it, right? There must be a means to save her. He wants to save her, and maybe it's possible. I don't know. It feels to me like they're pretty much zombified, but maybe there's a way to save them. And she's like, of course I'm here to save Harimaze. Right? But I want to, like, more than that, I want to find out what's going on, right? She doesn't care that much. This is what I don't like about Gaen. She's like, you know, I want to control the situation. And she's more interested in just having that control, right? Having that balance around everything, and less concerned about saving people, about actually helping people, which is one of the very best characteristics that Araragi has as a person, that he wants to help people. He's like, surely there's a way to save them, and Gaen's like, yeah, of course I want to save her as well, but let's pay attention to the other thing that I'm interested in, which obviously is also going to lead to saving her to a degree, right? Because if we find out who caused it, we can kind of work with that. But she's more interested in that. She's more curious about what's happening here, and yeah, I don't know. I love how the glass reflects her. That's kind of like, how do you say, squishing her in, kind of like distorting her, kind of giving us the hint. There's something there that she's not telling us, right? She's not being 100% frank with us. Yes, she's saying partially, like she's saying the truth partially, but she's not sharing everything with us. And that's the impression you always get when talking with Gaen. I do love how they flash that back to Tsubasa Tiger when she first appeared, and that big swirl of like a green yellow sky is above her, right, as a backdrop. Kind of impressive when she's getting introduced. These exchanges with the eyes. Just because I'm here from the get-go despite being a shit. I need to see that line again. It's not the right reaction for you to consider me reliable just because I'm here from the get-go despite being a shut-in. Before I explain it, we should move. Yeah, and now she's just kind of like changing topics, right? She's kind of like not giving you a real answer. Second one, Ono Aburi. Pedestrian, right? Right? We have that. Multiple across 3 or 4 days. And we have to assume, right, there's a mountain of them. I do love how the cables are connected to the screen. It almost looks like some kind of like lifeline or umbilical cord or whatever. Especially with all of the red in the scene. Isn't it nice to occasionally help some girls you don't even know? Oh, and stop bashing Araragi, okay? He just wants to help, okay? He's got pure motives. The fact that they're all girls is just purely coincidental, okay? Very much like to borrow your expertise, or Shinobu's probably, right? Let's be honest, right? I mean, Araragi has experience dealing with that shit at this point, and I think people trust him to a degree, but also she knows Shinobu. Shinobu knows a lot about vampires, and she might know a lot of vampires in general, and this is why she's like, I need Araragi kind of in there. Yeah, and Yosuru is in the Arctic for whatever fucking reason. I don't know, right? Oshino was too, like, what are they doing up there, right? Alright, and they wanna put in Hachikuchi or Nonoki, but she's on a different mission, a job that I'm keeping a secret. So either it's Nadeko, which would make sense, or it's even somebody else or something else, right? That we're gonna see later on at some point. I don't know. I mean, we only have 14 episodes. I don't know how far we're gonna go with all of that. But yeah. She's like, I'm gonna leave you alone for college. He's like super happy about it. I love it. With like the backlighting, how it's going. And he's getting gaslit. She's right. It's good to save strangers every so often. Don't do it, Araragi. You're gonna get yourself involved in some major bullshit. I mean, he's gonna get involved anyway with the Deftopia and Shinobu and whatnot. Yeah, and he's like, very serious about school, which I really like. That he's not like getting himself into another like situation on his own. He's got all of that stuff resolved, and you feel that. I at least in terms of like I think I feel that in every scene, that he's kind of like, he's still him, right? He's still Araragi. In a way, like you see the characteristics, the way he moves, the way he behaves, but it's toned down and you feel like he's more grounded from the couple of scenes that I've seen. The yellow car. I can't get over that fucking yellow car. Holy shit. And what are they doing? Like, this is like a crime scene, but it's actually not. Because it's like a just some fucking traffic signs or whatever, right? And not signs, you know what I mean? Like the little traffic cones. Being very extra with all of that reflection stuff. I do wonder, I thought she would burst into flames, but I guess she isn't, because she's kind of a failed vampire, and not a real one. And we do have the cipher. Very detailed here. Entering the passcode. What are these lipstick marks? Hello. Dying message. Dining message. Living message. Wait, what? Is that kind of like, explain this to me. Is this like a kanji pun? Because I don't quite get it. I mean, dying to dining makes sense. That's funny, right? Because vampire, lol. And then living message, which is dying to living, is kind of funny. Oh yeah, this dying message. Though I feel I should call it a living message. I wonder what that means, like with the living message. I have to ponder on that. Maybe you can tell me. Do love how we use like framing, right? Putting an object that is actually super tiny or super small right into the camera in front of a character, kind of changing the scales completely, but focusing on it in the scene itself. And this is like the kind of IRL representation of that. And we figure all of that out, the initials and whatnot. Very interesting art style we're using here. I do feel like this, when we had the Nadeko pool story and the in-between chapter cuts, this was the kind of art style we used. I love how we're constantly changing the art styles, because it also keeps you as a viewer engaged. It keeps you like, right, your eye is very appealed to the scene to just spot little differences, and it's very enjoyable to watch. And especially, I think it's really cool how we managed to merge all of these different art styles and directional choices in a way to make it feel very coherent nonetheless. I mean, obviously that's Monogatari in a nutshell. It's very good at that, and we have other things, like other series of Shaft that have similar ways to kind of go from one art style into another art style and make it very engaging, but at the same time feel cohesive as an experience, right? Sangatsu has its moments, although Sangatsu is probably the one that has the least of that. And then obviously Madoka has that with the witches and whatnot. Yeah, really cool. Anase University. Yeah, that's the Gaku. Yeah. Obviously, I can't read all of the kanjis, but some of them I recognize a little bit here and there. And nice that I said it during the reaction. Nice that Aragi is still sticking to his math roots, but at the same time, we do have an astronomy like a planetary model right here, on the right side. Geometric forms, very interesting how the bookshelves are arranged here. I mean, I've seen weirder shit, okay? Look, like lecture rooms are often prone to have some very interesting designs depending on who actually designed them. And I think it's always cool, right? You don't just want to walk into a lecture room and it's just boring as all hell. It should feel special because this is something you're going to be sitting for multiple years in, at least in various classes, right? You won't have a different room for every class. Classes will be in the same rooms oftentimes, especially if you have different institutes for different subjects that people are studying. Amukai Miniko. I do wonder if she's gonna be somebody who will be in the series multiple times, or if this is a one-time appearance. Really neat design. I do love it. It's simple, but it's very effective. I do wonder if this, like I said in the reaction, if this dress shirt half tucked in, half over the pants or the skirt or whatever, if that is a common thing because we saw it with Oikura, or if it's maybe something that's specific to this university, in which case I'm like, is Sodachi in the same university as Araki? I mean, if she is, they haven't seen each other probably, because if I remember correctly, she has been contemplating on Aragi Nadekodra, but hasn't been mentioning anything even in her monologue of thoughts about actually meeting him in the meantime. If it's you making the request, I'll look at anything. Well, Aragi already got a fucking reputation. Holy shit, how does he do it? It should have been me. It should have been me. It should have been me. But seriously, how does he do it? How does he do it? Great framing of the shot. Great framing. As like some kind of like cinema screen on the back, and he's explaining that, right? In the beginning I was like, this is just a logic puzzle, right? But we're getting the prime numbers in there, and in that sense it's really cool. Also, she's on the top, she's not in like she's not in front. Completely different colors for the room as well, very interesting. But yeah, she's not in the front, she's at the top, and she's at the top and writing at the chalkboard at the top, which is very interesting. I do wonder if that's for students to actually do their own thing, or whatever it's for. I saw the ladder going up. It's very curious, that kind of design. And I do love how we're looking at her from the perspective of the chalkboard. We are the chalkboard. She's writing the information onto us. Yeah, like, look at that. Very, very curious design on like because obviously down there you already have a chalkboard. Holy shit. figuring things out, with figuring them out, right? I do love like having all the geometric forms in the background and all that. And this is how ciphers work, right? This is how ciphers work on a basic level. You do have either you're shifting letters depending on a certain method of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and whoever has the key, right? They have the key cipher. In the beginning, when you do like basic programming stuff, you will learn stuff like the Caesar's cipher. That's like the most basic, I guess, encryption program that you can write, where it's like encrypt your password, whatever. I do love this art style that we're using here, and all of the letters are kind of written in a chalk style, basically. This is a weird frame, I don't know why. We'll have to look into that later. And this is like, I mean, at this point I should have known that it's Deftopia, but at the same time I was like, is it that simple, right? It's interesting that Deftopia actually leaves her initials there as like a sign. So we are to assume she has written that, and not the person who got, I don't want to say killed, but zombified, I guess. Deftopia Virtuoso Suicide Master. And we do have the painting we saw last time, a beautiful, beautiful painting. And God knows. I don't know how she knows, but she knows, right? And she didn't tell us because she had the suspicion. She didn't know for sure. But at the moment you give her the right piece of information to actually make the connection, she's like, yes, of course I know. I know everything. Fuck you, God. Fuck you. I like your sister more. Because she's hot. And there she is, Guy and Toei. Holy shit. You know the Wolf of Wall Street, the thing. Yeah, and Gan, big sister. We have like Isuko here, Toei here, and Suruga obviously as part of the Kanbaru. Looking good, looking good. Looking great even. We do have all of these moments. I do wonder if some of these are like some of these are supposed to be Numachi, because we don't see it exactly, but it could very well be. And now we're suddenly like showing, I guess, traced footage of real life stuff. This looks like traced, honestly. This is just like with a filter over something. Like that is a real life watch. And then we're turning it around like we turned around the Deftopia Suicide Master. I do wonder if the names of the victims are actually also the initials, but I don't think so. We don't have a V in there, so nah. It's right there. What, am I blind or something? No. Shame, because that would have been even more of a fun pun, I guess. And now we're moving into real life footage. Right, Kier first yet was assaulted 2 nights ago, right? Before dawn broke, the vampire assaulted another first year, right? Again, real life footage. So much real life footage. Either they dragged her into a shack, or they drank her blood, blah blah blah, or drank her blood, then carried the mummy in the shack, yeah. But in either case, the evil deed was committed during the night. You have like the fisheye lens, okay. Like a vampire arrested during the day when the sun rose, and when night fell again, a day after that, they then bit into Honoabori, Natsu's second year, who was in her room at home. I do wonder why she's attacking people from Natsu. Maybe it has something to do with her hearing something about Aragi and knowing he was a student there. Maybe that's the direct connection. Maybe there's no connection at all in that specific case, but I do wonder what it's got to do with the basketball team specifically, right? If there's something that connects the basketball team to Deftopia, or if it's just that those 3 girls, but right, the one was attacked in her home. She wasn't like going around at night, so I do wonder why she attacked them specifically. So I want limited scope film, keep an eye on with seek assistance from Hachikuchi. No, she would be on the side of oddities. That's kind of weird. I wouldn't assume, right? Like when Onoroki said that she was like she would have to remain neutral. So I'm wonder why she would be on the side of oddities. I mean, she is an oddity in a way, right? But like, isn't a god supposed to be impartial? Mostly, at least. And we meet with Kanbaru. I mean, her design is amazing. Say what you want, but her design is great. All of those Koyomi roads, and the trees behind him, great stuff. Higasa looking very prominent with her eyes and all of that. I do want to wait. What kind of eye color does Senjugahara have? I mean, she has the hair color, which is purple. Does she have purple eye color? I don't think she's got purple eye color, right? Because if you would have, that would kind of be almost a resemblance to Higasa in that case. Higasa Seo. Kanbaru's friend. I bet you heard terrible things. Ding, ding, ding. And they just laugh about it. They're like, if you knew what we've been telling about you. The ahoge coming out of the drink. As soon as Araragi is here, he's the punching bag of Kanbaru again. I love it, right? The dynamic of the two of them is really great. Makes for a very entertaining like flow of conversation too whenever it happens. The way it feels like I've known you for a long time. It doesn't feel like we just met. You were the only delinquent student to graduate from Naruto High School. Socially invisible. No friends. Failing every class besides math. Frequently absent, yet class vice president. Oh, holy shit. Dunking on him like crazy. That said, as I've heard the rumors, I'm trembling right now. Alright. And the shirt in the back were like that she wore when they were... Oh, I don't even know when she wore it. I think towards the end of Monogatari. When she had the long hair. I don't even know when that exactly was. And she's got the information. We got the could that be like a Kaguya reference? Like, I'm just thinking about that because Kaguya has a lot of references to Monogatari. And this is like, reminds me so heavily of like the spoilers for Kaguya season 3 for the Shirogane rap episode where they had like even a separate intro, a separate ED for that. And she's over here, she's like in the crowd. Anybody else kind of a little bit... Alright, wait. Right. Top secret. This is like not one-to-one, but this is very much a callback to what Kanbaru, like some of the flashes we got of Kanbaru when she was screwing around with Araragi. Height, weight, buzzword, measurements, whatever. Anybody else kind of weirded out by the way her hair stands off in some of these scenes without just flowing? Famed pervert. Very interesting. Okay, well, also alumni, which is in this case senpai, right? As obviously you can use senpai as somebody who you look up to within your own age, within your own class, within your own level, but you can also look up to a senpai or you can call somebody senpai who is in a class above you or whatever. But apparently you can call an alumni also senpai. So we exchanged the senpai with the hentai. And I guess this is how it ends for you, Araragi. Forever immortalized as the Araragi hentai. Very cool how we frame this in with the branches that are surrounding them and them kind of not quite in the middle, they're off to the side, to the right, which makes this visually more interesting, but they're framed in and they're the focus of the scene. It's like we're like a bird sitting in one of the branches and looking through that window basically into what is basically a room full of books that are chaotically strewn about. I do wonder how it will look after he's done cleaning, right? We're gonna have the obligatory throwing books at one another enjoy scene. But yeah, also very cool how she's in the open and in the light. And we're kind of like Kanbaru is in between, right? We're having the door to the outside, and Araragi is on, like, off screen on the inside in the dark. And she's kind of providing him with that information that is getting him a peek to the outside, to the open sky, basically, which is information in this case, right? He's not in the dark anymore once she's handing that over to him. Yeah, things took a nosedive after we retired. The worst atmosphere, there's no cohesion. And this is the thing, right? Maybe the grand reveal kind of fell dead on me. The camaraderie is gone, but they still have shared responsibilities. Of the 100 members of the roster, 5 have gone missing. So does that include the 3 that turned up dead, or does it not? Because if it does, then we're looking for 2 more victims, potentially. If that does not, then we're looking for 5 additional victims. And there's also the possibility I'm kind of misinterpreting that, and it actually means that in addition to the 3 here, 5 have gone missing and they're not victims, potentially. That's just a result of, like, in general, over the years, right? 5, or over the last year, 5 have gone missing. Because shit happened and, like, things are this dire in the group, but I don't think that's the case, right? That is still a possibility, but I think it's directly connected to this incident. So we're looking for at least 2 more people who are still missing. Love that shot on not the eyes, right? They're talking and we're looking at them, but the eyes are cut off, so we don't know how they look while they're talking about that. You have that quick flash with the 5 shadows, reminds me of Nadeko Draw, of course. And we do have, like, this person that was the first one we saw in this episode. I think this person to the left side is somebody we've seen before, and the other one to the left side is also one of the victims. So the 2 on the right side, yellow and green, are the ones we're still looking for, potentially, I feel. I love how we're shooting this in an absolute 100% fisheye for dramatic effect. And we're zooming in on Araragi, keeping that fisheye lens-ish feel. And now we're going into the ED. Holy shit. Do we look at the ED? No. We'll look at the ED at the beginning of the discussion, which is going to be in just a minute. I don't know if the discussion is going to be 10 minutes or if it's going to be 30 minutes. I don't know how much we can glean from that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eat something. I'm going to look over it, take some notes, and then if I find interesting stuff to do, then we're going to go back into the discussion. If not, the discussion is probably just going to be me looking at the ED and looking what kind of different lyrics we can look into, and the visuals, of course, which are absolutely amazing. But yeah, that's been Monogatari off-season, monster season, episode 9, Shinobu Mustard. For whatever reason, it's mustard. I keep repeating myself. I do hope you enjoyed this. I really liked this introduction to the new arc. It's building the intrigue. It's going very slowly, but I feel like we're gonna... Next episode, we're gonna tease a little bit more, right? And then we get to a breaking point, and then the dam is gonna break, and shit's gonna go wild. This is how I feel this is probably gonna go, especially with the Deftopia being in the mix, and potentially Araragi and her meeting. And we haven't even seen Shinobi in this entire episode, so I do wonder where she is. If she's just right in the shadow and she's gonna come out at night, because we haven't had night yet with Araragi, which is very important. All of that happened in a day, basically. Or if there's something else going on and Shinobu is somewhere else. Because, I mean, she can move between the family members, so maybe this is when she is visiting Nadeko for her teaching session, basically. But who knows? We don't know enough yet. This is always the case when we're going into an arc. I do love it so far. We're back to the old art style. We're back to Araragi. I'm really happy to see Araragi again as a person. I'm really happy to see Kanbaru again because I really enjoyed most of her bits in the previous parts of the series. And I'll be seeing you next time. Go check out the Discord and the Patreon. Go check out my other series, Monster Technolize. I'm also playing Disco Elysium if you're interested in that. We might be doing a little bit more of that, so look forward to that if that's interesting for you. And I'll see you next time.